the Cupcake Jemma channel and to C&D Soho. And I'm upstairs today. Jemma is off doing some kind of pregnancy related stuff, so you've got me again, I'm afraid. But I've got a really exciting recipe for you today. A few weeks back, Dane and I were here and we were making birthday cake cookies, and they have been so popular. You guys have absolutely loved them. So we are on the birthday cake bandwagon at the moment. So today we're going to do a cupcake recipe for birthday cake batter cupcakes. So I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I used to bake with my mom and it was super fun, but really the thing I loved the most was licking the bowl at the end, because I think everybody secretly loves cake batter. So we're going to start by making a crumb, which is going to be the decoration for our cupcakes. And I think that the whole birthday cake, it came around about maybe like 10 years ago or something. And I'm pretty sure that it came from Christina Tosi, who runs Milk Bar in New York, which we visited when we were in New York. So go and have a look at our New York vlog to check that out. And she kind of created this birthday cake crumb. So we're not going to pretend that this is our invention. This is not, like, she's a genius. And so we're going to bake that first. And we're going to start with some plain flour, and I've got 90 grams of that. And into there, I'm going to put in 100 grams of caster sugar and 25 grams of light brown sugar. The light brown sugar just kind of adds a caramelly taste, so it's not just kind of pure sweetness that you get. And we're going to add a ½ teaspoon of salt, because I really think that that kind of adds to the cake battery kind of effect. And we're going to give ½ teaspoon of baking powder, along with the all-important sprinkles, because this wouldn't be a birthday cake without sprinkles. So we've got 25 grams, and we're going to put that in as well. And then we need to add some wet ingredients to bind it all together. And I've got 40 grams of sunflower oil. You can use any kind of oil, but a flavourless one and a colourless one is perfect for this. Something like olive oil has just got too much of a kind of olivey oil taste. So try and find sunflower or vegetable oil, something kind of flavourless. So we're going to pop that in, along with a whole teaspoon of vanilla extract. And now what we need to do is bind it all together. So you just want to keep mixing the mixture until it kind of comes together and forms little clumps. If you feel like it's a bit dusty and it's not getting there, you can add a little bit more oil or just some cold water, because what you want to end up is a consistency a bit like this. And when you're happy with your crumbs, we're just going to tip it into a baking sheet. I've just lined mine with a little bit of greaseproof paper. You can put Silpat down just to help it from sticking. And then we're going to put it in the oven at 170 degrees for 10 minutes until it's nice and golden. Okay, so now we are going to get on with making our cupcake batter. And this is basically kind of our, I say regular, it's not regular, it's a delicious vanilla cupcake recipe, but we're just going to make a few little changes to it just to kind of enhance the kind of birthday cake effect that we are trying to get. So we're going to start off as usual with 125 grams of soft unsalted butter, and remember, it's so important that this is really soft. And it's important that it's soft because otherwise it's not going to whip up properly and it's not going to volumize, and you'll probably end up with less cupcakes than you need. So, super soft butter, super important. Into that we are going to add our sugars, and we've got 100 grams of caster sugar and 25 grams of the light brown sugar again. And 125 grams of self-raising flour, along with some raising agents. So we've got bicarb, and we're going to put in a ¼ teaspoon of that, just to help give them some lift, and a ¼ teaspoon of salt. And now our additions, we've got some white chocolate. So I've got 75 grams of white chocolate chips. I've kind of chopped them up a little bit so that they go a bit further. When they're large, they tend to kind of sink to the bottom of the batter. So I'm going to pop those into the mix, along with the all-important sprinkles. So I've got another 30 grams of lovely bright coloured sprinkles. And we're nearly there. We just need to add our eggs. So as usual, we've got 2 large free-range eggs. And now it's on with our paddle attachment, and we're going to beat this for about 30 seconds. And once that's had 30 seconds on a nice medium-high speed, we're going to add some liquid. And I've got 1½ tablespoons of milk here, and I'm going to add in a full teaspoon of vanilla extract. We'll pop all of that into the mixer and get it on again. Okay, so that's it. Super easy, super quick. We really don't beat our kind of cupcake batter for all that long, and if you want to know a little bit more about why we do that, we did like a masterclass a few months back with Jemma, and we kind of explained all the different mixing processes, like what happens if you overmix, undermix, and really useful video. So we'll put a link to that in the description box. But now our batter's ready, so we can divide it into our cupcake pan. As usual, we've got a nice large pan with 12 holes, and I'm going to use the spoons, but again, if you've got an ice cream scoop or a piping bag that you want to go with, do that. All right, so they are going to bake in the oven at the same temperature as our crumb for 18 to 20 minutes. We're going to test them, as always, by bouncing our finger on the top. If they spring up, they're ready. If they're not, we're just going to go for another minute until they are springy. So now we can get on with making our birthday cake batter icing. It's going to be a kind of a standard American buttercream, but we're going to make it taste like batter because that's kind of the whole point in this video. So I'm going to start with 225 grams of nice, soft, unsalted butter, and we're going to get that whipping, as per usual, on a nice high speed to kind of make it nice and airy and light, so that you have a nice, soft buttercream rather than a kind of waxy, stodgy one. So we're going to get that mixing for about 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what that looks like. It is so white and fluffy, and that is what you want before you start adding any icing sugar. So now we can start adding our icing sugar, and I've got 400 grams in total, and I've already sifted it. Always sift your icing sugar. You should always sift everything. And I'm going to put half of it in now and beat it all in for, you know, another 3 to 4 minutes. Because the more you whip it, the lighter and fluffier it's going to get. Once that's whipped through, we'll add the other half. Okay, so now's the fun part. We're going to put in some plain flour, which sounds a little bit weird, but it's not, it's delicious. But there is one thing you need to know about flour. It's not safe to eat raw flour. It has lots of bacteria in it, and it can cause all sorts of horrible illnesses, but it's easy to fix. All I've done is I've popped my flour on a baking tray and put it in the oven for about 10 minutes, and that's just going to kill all the bacteria to make this completely safe to eat. So I've got 60 grams, and we're going to tip that into the icing, along with, get my head out of the way, a good pinch of salt to bring out all the flavours, and a little bit of vanilla. I say a little bit, I'm going to put about a teaspoon in. And I'm just going to get that mixing on a low speed before pouring in about 3 tablespoons of milk. But as usual, I'm going to do this nice and slowly, because it might be that we don't want to add all of it, because if it goes too sloppy, there's not much you can do about bringing it back. If it's too stiff, we can always add more. Now we're just going to whack the speed up for a final beat for another 3 minutes, and then it will be ready. Alright, so we're all ready, so just give me a couple of minutes to clean down, and I'll bring everything back together. We can do some decorating, and we can do some eating. Alright, so we are nearly ready. We've got our cupcakes, which have cooled down, they're lovely and even. And we've got our pie crumb, which is nice and crispy. We've got our buttercream, and before we can start piping this, I'm going to add some more sprinkles. And the reason I didn't do this when we were making the icing is because if you leave the sprinkles sitting around in the icing, they can kind of bleed into it, especially if you're not going to use the icing right away. If you're going to save it to like the next day or something to use, I would always put the sprinkles in just before you use it. So I'm going to go for about 2 tablespoons of sprinkles. And then I'm just going to gently stir those through. And now we can fill up our piping bag. And I'm gonna do this with a multi-star nozzle. Not sure the complete technical name, but it has like a really kind of fluffy effect to it. And this is one of our nozzles that we're selling in our kits on CupcakeJemma.com, along with the bag and the coupler in these lovely little packs. So it's all in here. So we'll put a link to that as well. So make sure you get yourself some, because it's all the essential nozzles that you need. All right, here we go. So it's going to do a nice kind of classic swirl, starting from the center, working our way around the outside, squeezing off in the middle. Perfect amount of icing as well. And now we can just top it off with our yummy pie crumb. And that is it. It smells really, really good. I can't wait to eat this. It's all about the icing. It honestly tastes like licking the bowl. It's like nostalgia. And this pie crumb, really nice and crispy, adding like the essential bit of texture that you need. I'm just gonna eat a bit more. They're so good. They're so good, in fact. And we're gonna make sure that we've got these in the Soho store this whole weekend, so Friday through to Sunday. So please come down and say hi, give us a high five, try one of these, and if you bake them yourself, then please put them on Instagram and tag us and use hashtag CupcakeJemma so we can all see your photos. We'll put all our Instagram kind of handles, names, whatever they're called, in the description box below. Let us know how you get on. They're delicious. Watch our birthday cake cookies as well. There's some baking in the oven right now and they smell amazing, so you absolutely have to do those or come down and try them in store as well. I better get these downstairs.